Welcome and thank you so much for joining us on this issue or this episode of Tech Talks. My name is Christine Cosby-Gaither and I'm going to be your host today. And I am so grateful that you have tuned in today. If you can, please please share this broadcast out. Please email it to someone, your friends, because we do have some information that we're going to go through today. Today we are going to talk about Zoom. This is actually going to be the basics of Zoom, and I'm going to discuss it. There is a version that you can use for your cell phone or on a mobile device, your iPad, whatever device you might have. But we are going to be discussing it this week and with this edition for on your desktop, your MacBook, and I have a MacBook. So if you have a PC, some of the variations might differ, but the overall concept is the same. But thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you for tuning in. So let's get started. First of all, when it comes to Zoom, there are different plans that you have on Zoom. You have the free version and you have the paid version, and each plan increases the amount that you pay. On this one, on what we're doing today, because this is something that everyone really needs to go ahead and have in their possession, especially in this day of COVID. All of our meetings should be virtually done. So in this episode, we're going to discuss the free version of the software. There are 4 plans available, as I said, but today we're going to do the free version. And you get more with the paid options, of course, as you do when you pay for anything, honestly. But with the free version, this will be good for you if you're just wanting to do your everyday meetings. With the free plan, you can hold up to 100 participants. You can enjoy one-on-one meetings, or if you need to meet with a colleague or you need to meet with someone, your one-on-one meetings, they are possible and they do not have a time limit if you're just having one person that you're meeting with. But for multiple persons that you want to meet with, there is a time limit. You will have to do, there is a time limit on the free plan of 40 minutes. But one thing about the free plan is after that 40 minutes period, if you're still meeting and you're still discussing, you're still talking, one of the things you are able to do is you are able to go ahead and you can restart your meeting, and that will give you a fresh 40 minutes. So the free version is something that is available to all of us and is really beneficial to all of us. Okay, also participants can join from a PC, as I stated, and they can also join from their telephone. So let's just say, for example, something's going on and you do have a telephone that has a camera on it, but you do not have a PC or a Mac that has a telephone on it. A camera on it. You can join by video via telephone and then also join the meeting on your MacBook or on the PC. So therefore you can actually hear through the sound in your device. But that also vice versa. Say, for example, if you have only that capability of, listening to it, you can't listen to it through your PC or listen to it through your MacBook, and you want to view it, you can view the video on your computer as this is a bigger screen, and then you can also tune into the audio through your cell phone. You can join in from any computer browser that you have in your computer browser, such as Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, or any kind of browser that you have. But honestly, the best way for you to view Zoom is by actually downloading the app. So if you can download the app within the App Store, or I think with Android you have your Google Play Store. If you download the app, that is honestly the best version of you being able to use it. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about today, let's see. First of all, we're going to talk about how do you get started with Zoom. Secondly, we're going to talk about how do you manage your Zoom account. we're going to schedule a meeting and host a meeting. Then I'm going to share with you some basic in-meeting options, some basic options that you can go through and you can discuss or you can use while you're actually meeting with someone. And then finally, and we're going to close with some Zoom etiquette. We're going to talk a little bit about etiquette. So let's get started. So go to zoom.us. If you go to zoom.us, you will have a screen that comes up and you will have Zoom on it. And then on the side, at the top right-hand corner, there is something that says sign up. It's free. If you click on that, it's going to first ask you for your date of birth. And I'm not shy about this. I'm October 2nd. Libra Gang, we just finished that season. But October 2nd, and I'm 83. So if I do, I'm going to scroll down here to 1983. All right, now it's going to ask you for an email address, and this is the thing with getting started. You can always use your email address, or you can sign in with Google or with Facebook. But if possible, please sign in using the email address. So I'm going to do SSC, let's see. TechTalk@gmail.com. I'll sign up for it there. And it says we've sent an email to ssctechtalks@gmail.com. You want to, after you sign up for it, it will send you an email, and what you will have, and I'll show in my email in the email account, it says please activate your Zoom account. You will automatically get this email. When you get this email, please just click on the email. It tells you to welcome to Zoom, and then you just activate the account. After you activate the account, you should be all ready to go. I'm signing up on behalf of school. No. All right. So it says everything's been successfully created. Now it's going to ask you for your first name, your last name, and password. And we're just going to do, just to keep it, St. Stephen, the last name for the purposes of this episode. Put St. Stephen Church and the password. Okay, so with your password, you make sure that you have at least 8 characters, you have at least 1 letter, have at least 1 number, and you have to include both uppercase and lowercase characters. We have done so everything has been changed to green, saying that our password is good. So now I can confirm the password. All right, so we're just going to say we don't want to invite any colleagues right now. So I'm going to say I'm going to skip this step. It's asking me to show pictures of bicycle. So we'll show those. And I'm going to skip this step. We're not inviting anyone. So we're going to go to the account. So here's the account that it comes up, and this is when we're going to talk about managing your account. So with you managing your account, the next thing we have, you'll see here, you have the church's name, you have a picture, it tells you your personal meeting ID. By the way, everyone, when they sign up for their account, they're giving their own personal meeting ID, i.e., like your virtual Zoom telephone number. So it gives you your sign-in email. I have the basic license type. If you have a paid subscription, you will have a different kind of licensing type. And your meeting, I know we can hold up to 100 participants. So it also does the date and time, the time zone, the format, and everything there. So one of the things we're going to talk about is, let's see, we're going to change first of all, your profile pic. So under managing account, once you get in, the first thing you can do is change your profile pic. The very first, and the reason why I would recommend changing your profile pic if you can, is because that really kind of gives you more people trust exactly who they can see. They can, especially if you're meeting with someone and you've never met with them before, some people want to know exactly what this person, who am I meeting with? What does this person look like? So here you would just upload a picture there, press upload. You will search within your computer for a picture, and then after you press that picture, you can save it and it will change your profile picture. The second thing you can do within the same screen is here you can change your password. So let's see here. So it says you can, sign in your email. We have our email. You can do things to here. You can change your password. Oops, sorry about that. Let's go back. Okay, so you can change your password. Honestly, another thing that some people, a lot of times, have you ever received a Zoom? I don't know if anybody who randomly sent you any type of Zooms, or you may not have hosted a Zoom, but you've been invited to a Zoom, so which is much easier, and we'll discuss that in future. But the time zone is incorrect. Under this, your profile, you can go down here to the date and time, and you can edit what time frame that you're in. So we are in Eastern Standard Time here, so we'll keep it on Eastern because that's the time zone we want. So whenever you send out a meeting invitation, all of your time zones will be in the same time zone that you're inviting. So say, for example, if you're on Eastern, but someone is on Central Time, that will convert it for them based off of the time zone that you put in yours. Secondly, the date format here. The date format is what's going to be on your invitation also when you send them. So make sure that I like this date format that you have 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and 4 digits for the year. But there are other date formats that you can use. And thirdly, you also can change the time. So we're going to cancel out of that because we don't want to change the time. Now let's talk about scheduling and hosting a meeting. So you will see if you go into user management, at the top of your page, before we even do that, and still while you're in your profile, the first thing you'll see at the top of the screen, right next to the Zoom, you have the Zoom solutions. It talks about plans and pricing, contact, sales. But the things you will have next will be to schedule a meeting. So if you click on here, we're going to schedule a meeting. So here, this is where you need to fill out all of your information. We're going to schedule our meeting. So let's just put test. The description field is always optional. You do not have to necessarily use the description field, but sometimes it will be best to put a description so whoever you're meeting with will understand this is test. So I'm just going to put this is a test, but naturally, if you're using it for a meeting, you can put a description so the person you're meeting with will know exactly what you're meeting about. The meeting is going to be, November 3rd today. The meeting will be, today, November 3rd. And then we'll set it for 2:30 p.m. And we don't want to show this message again. Once you see this message about it telling you that you only have 40 minutes, after you click this box that says don't show this message again, then you will not see this again. So your time zone, make sure your time zone is right. Make sure you don't want a recurring meeting, but if you wanted a recurring meeting, you can click on that and it can tell you exactly how long or when do you want a recurring daily? Do you want a weekly, monthly, or no fixed time? Maybe it's just a meeting you want to set up that's just random. And it says, when you want to end the meeting, let's just say, for example, you might want to do something that by the end of the year, so you can put a meeting date, and then, or it can end after so many occurrences that the meeting has happened. But we're not going to do a recurring meeting. Next, for security reasons, is the passcode. I always tell persons to get a passcode. or to use a passcode, so therefore you don't have people randomly just coming into your meeting and joining your meeting. I also advise the waiting room, as the waiting room will, once you're the host and you get on, everyone will stay in the waiting room until you allow them to come into your meeting. So the host will have the video off. You always have the option once you start your video to turn your video on. And same thing with the participant. Once they come on into your meeting, they have the option themselves to control it and turn their video on. So at the end, I usually just keep this unchecked, mute participants upon entry, allow participants to join anytime, because you don't want, if anyone just happens to, something happens and their Wi-Fi is not good and they drop off, you don't want to give them a reason why they can't rejoin the meeting. So allow them to join at any time and automatically record the meeting on your local computer. Sometimes that is healthy when you want to record, but just know that this is going to take up space. So for each individual meeting, you can change all of these settings for each individual meeting. But for the purpose of this meeting, I'm not going to record this to the local computer. So I save the meeting. So after I press save, and you have to make sure and press save. After you press save, it's going to come up. It's going to come up as a confirmation as to what you have done. You tested this. This is a test. I have my day and time zone that I'm going to do this, my meeting ID, the waiting room, I can show the passcode. It's going to automatically hide it, but I can show it if I want to see it, if I want to show it to someone. The invite link, the host, it's telling me everything we need here for a meeting. Now, one thing is, okay, you've created this meeting. Now, what do you need to do next? You want to go ahead and invite whoever it is that you are meeting. This is not something that Zoom does automatically. It's more something that you have to do manually. So I always copy the invitation. Another box will pop up, and it says copy meeting invitation. You copy the meeting invitation, and then you're going to have to go back into your email, and you need to compose a new email and send it. Paste it within the body of the email as to what your Zoom invitation. So we're going to actually invite someone to this meeting. And then I'm just going to put in the subject field, Zoom link, and we're going to send it. So that means that person will have the invitation. So that's the reason. That's how you go ahead and you send everything out to them. So one of the things we're going to do, we're going to talk about the basic. Next, we're going to talk about the basic meeting meeting settings. So the things that you can do once you start your meeting. And to start your meeting, you can just go back after you've copied the invitation and you send the invitation, you save the invitation. The next thing you want to do is in this left-hand column underneath your profile. We just left profile, and then we went to schedule a meeting. But next we're going to go to meetings. And on the meeting screen, it's going to display any and all upcoming meetings that you have scheduled. And this is the one we just did. We just scheduled the test. So we're going to start this one. You can start this meeting. You can edit, say, for example, if you need to edit the day and then you need to edit the time, you can start. You can edit it there, or say you need to delete the meeting. You don't want the meeting after all, and you don't need to host the meeting after all, so you want to delete the meeting. But for the purpose of this training, we're going to start the meeting, and then always open US, and then you'll have the Zoom meeting that comes. Now, let's see. Now there is. So some functions. We're going to talk about the basic in-meeting functions, okay? First of all, we're going to admit the person who is here. Let's see. Are they there yet? Okay, we have everything there. Okay, so let's talk about the in-meeting functions. Let's talk about, first of all, on this black screen that pulls up once you start your meeting, you will have something at the bottom right-hand side, and this thing will only appear, or this bottom bar will only appear on the bottom of the screen if you hover over the screen. So here you have a function of muting and unmuting yourself, and then turning on your camera. So I'll turn on the camera, and then you can always mute and unmute yourself. This is honestly good, I know, just for me personally, because a lot of our meetings we're having to work from home and do our meetings at home. And I have a wonderful 4-year-old who feels the need to always come and have a conversation with me on every meeting, and she believes that no one else can hear her. So I'm blessed that we're able to have this mute function. So always unmute and mute yourself. Another thing is starting your video. So sometimes you might have a situation, or there might be a situation where, you have to go and do something quickly, just step quickly away from the meeting. So this is where you can turn on and off your microphone. This is also how you start and stop your camera. So let's talk about managing the participants within the meeting. Now, you can only manage the participants in the meeting if you are the host of the meeting. So if you are the host, you can honestly, here under participants, so this is how it's going to look prior to you going to present. You have mute, unmute, you have to start and you can stop your video, security, participants, chat, share screen, or you can record. We're going to go through all of these features, but right now we're going to talk about participants. So when you click on participants, another box is going to pop up to the right of your screen that's going to say participants. Here we see that we have 2 participants. One thing I want us to look at, let's just say, for example, you started your meeting and you realize, oh shoot, I forgot to invite such and such to this meeting. So here on this bottom of the screen, you can press invite. You can always email them out another invitation using your email address, or you can, depending on how you want to do, you can invite them using your email. You can also do it via Yahoo Mail, or you can default to whatever email you have, an Outlook or some other type of medium there. So you can invite people to your meeting. Another thing you can do is you can mute all individuals, or you can unmute all individuals for the purpose of this, or for this meeting. So say, for example, someone is talking and they're having a whole nother conversation with someone in the background while you're on your meeting. You just go through and mute everyone. Or you can unmute everyone. Or say, for example, if you want to unmute just one individual, you can do that and not unmute all individuals. So you can feel free to do that. Another thing that a feature that I like is under More. If you click on More, there is something where it's called Lock Meeting. And I always usually lock the meeting about 15 minutes after the meeting has to begin. So therefore, if you're coming to the meeting and I don't know that you're going to be late, I don't care if you have the password and you have the link for the Zoom, you can't get in because I have then locked the meeting and you're considered late to the meeting. So this especially applies for, I know, when teachers and different things have different classes. If you're late to class, that's one way I can tell you're late to class, because I've blocked the meeting. I've blocked you out of the meeting. Right here in the top right hand corner, you have something called the gallery view, or you can turn it into the speaker view. And the speaker view will put you and those persons in smaller boxes on your screen, so you're able to see those. You're able to see those for individuals. But say, for example, if you have a guest speaker, if you have a guest speaker, and you just want to go to gallery view, then you can do that and just have that person on the screen also. But for the purpose of this, we'll keep it back as speaker view, and we're going to turn our camera off. So we're good. The second thing you want to do is the share screen. This is something that I really enjoy, especially when teaching. Sharing screen, you can always share different, say for example, there's a video, there's a there's something else in the background that you want your audience and whoever you're meeting with, any kind of report, something you want them to see it, but for whatever reason you can't show it to them unless you share your screen. Now, with sharing screen, the only way you can the host is the only one as of this moment who can share a screen, unless the host gives other persons access to sharing their screen. So to share your screen, we'll go into that, but to have other people, if they want to share their screen, there's a little arrow to the upper right hand side of the share screen. And here you can highlight multiple participants can share simultaneously. So therefore other persons can share. But for the purpose of this, I'll be the only one sharing the screen. So when you push share your screen, you can have different views and different things you can share. It doesn't automatically just share everything. It shares what you wanted to share. So for example, if you had a Word document and you want to share a screen, it's going to come up and it's going to say whatever that Word document is. For the purpose of this, I just said that this is a test. So we'll stop the share here in the red, and we'll do a share. Another thing is a video. If there is a video or anything that you want to share, I would say you can share that also. But the trick is to make sure to share it with the sound, because if not, when you share a video, you will actually hear it through your computer speakers, but they won't hear it through their computer. So therefore, when you go to share, you have to make sure that you are sharing your computer sound. So I always share computer sound and optimize the video screen for a video clip. So I'm going to share a video. Shameless plug. This is Miss Crystal and her candid conversations, and my friend G. Laron Rainey. Never Alone. Shameless plug. Please go back and find that and view that on YouTube, because it's amazing. But anyway, so we'll stop that. But just for the purpose of this, that's the way that you go through and you will share a screen. Another thing that you will see on here is your chat. In the chat box, this is where you can chat with individuals. And if you put something here in the chat, let's just say we'll put a test. So if it says to everyone at the top, or in blue it says it to everyone, you want to make sure that message is going to go to everyone. If you are only chatting to that one individual privately, then when you send them a message, it's going to send it to them, shoot it to them privately. The second thing you want to do, and I'm going to stop chatting. The next thing you can do here is you can record. By recording this meeting, you can record it to your computer, or you can record in the cloud. If you record in the cloud, it's in the cloud on Zoom, and there is limited space. And I believe also with the record, when you press record on the free plan, you only get the option of recording to your device. So be aware of that. Also, in this, you are able to rename yourself under participants. So if you go to participants, let's just say, for example, if you want to rename yourself, you can go to more in the top hand corner. In the top right hand corner, just click on more, and then you can rename yourself. So let's just say, instead of it saying St. Stephen Church, say you want to name it Tech Talks. So you can rename yourself. So you can do it there. Also, you have another thing you want to do is you can let's just say, for example, you need to leave early from the meeting and you have an assistant or something that you want to take over the meeting. So you are able to make the new person. Now, if you are already the host, you are able to press more and make another person a host. So make sure you can do that. You can change your host. Another thing with changing your host, you can always make yourself reclaim your hosting spot back in case you want to take that over again. And then finally, The last thing we'll talk about is ending your meeting. Say your meeting is done, everyone's over. I mean, everything's been talked about and everything's been discussed. So now you want to end your meeting. So you can just click here on the bottom right-hand corner. There's something that says end in red. So you end your meeting, and since you're the host, you're permitted to end the meeting for all. Now, for example, if you wanted to just leave the meeting, but you didn't want to end it for everyone, you can click on Leave Host, and you can just leave meeting. You can just leave the meeting, but for the purpose of this, we're going to end the meeting for all. So now what we're going to do, and since we did a sample of that, it's going to go ahead and record that. Now, finally, we're going to, in the last couple of minutes that we have together, we're just going to talk a little bit about meeting etiquette and Zoom meeting etiquette. So always mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Please don't accidentally say something and you still have your microphone on. Please make sure to always keep your microphone muted unless you are actually speaking. So when you're not speaking, please do so. Position your webcam properly, so make sure that your webcam is in a place where you are able to see your whole face, including your mouth, and not just, have it here where I can only see your mouth, or have it here where I can see the top half of your face. So make sure to do that. Always try to look into the camera. I know a lot of times with meetings, persons will look directly at the screen, but it looks like you're actually looking down beneath someone because you're not looking and addressing them directly in the camera. So please try to always look in your camera. Do not eat within the meeting. Drinking sometimes depending on how long the meeting is, I'll sometimes have a bottle of water. So drinking a bottle of water or something like that is okay, depending on when the meeting is and the occasion of the meeting and what the purpose of the meeting is. But do not whatsoever eat within the meeting. The host should honestly be the last one to leave the meeting. So make sure that everyone logs off, and you make sure that you are the last one unless you decide you're just going to abruptly end the meeting for everyone. So make sure you try to do that. Make your private meetings private, meaning that if you're having a private one-on-one conversation or meeting with someone, just make sure that that link doesn't get broadcasted to a lot of other people if you want to maintain the privacy of your meeting. Don't do other things while you're on the meeting. While you're on the meeting, don't go downstairs washing clothes or in the next room making up the bed. Don't do other things while you're in the meeting. When you're in the meeting, be present for that meeting. Stay focused, and these meetings should not be long, if possible, because meeting online virtually is not the same as meeting in person. And meeting online virtually has the meeting should not be as long because there is not a lot of room for random conversation. So please make sure that you stay focused. Only invite the persons to your meeting who need to be there at your meeting. If you're not needed for the meeting, please don't invite them to the meeting. Don't have somebody and waste someone's time for and being on a meeting when they don't need to be in the meeting. So please don't do that. Keep your camera on when possible. Persons want to know that when we're meeting, I'm not just talking to someone, a picture or whatever. So when you can, please keep your cameras on when possible. Dress for the meeting, meaning that don't come to the meeting with your pajamas on, with anything on your head, a head wrap or anything on your head. Don't be in your bed. Please come prepared for the meeting. Stage your video area. You want to make sure that wherever you're recording your Zoom meeting or whenever you're having your meeting, that your background is conducive to the meeting. You don't want to have in the background all your kids or anyone walking around or people walking around in the background. Make sure that you stage your area. The more light is better, especially in front of you, so persons on your Zoom can understand, they can see you, and you're not in the dark. And finally, schedule one or more feedback breaks, and I feel like that's something that's critical also, because sometimes you can just be meeting, talking, and then there's not a break for anyone to give any kind of feedback. So make sure, depending on the length of your meeting, you schedule at least 1 or 2 feedback breaks. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tech Talks. We appreciate you. Please make sure like, share, and email this out. Have a great day.